Daniel had built a life of routine. For the past 5 years, his days looked almost the same. He woke up early, went to work, spent long hours at the office, and came home to an empty apartment. Some nights he read books, other nights he stared at the ceiling, wondering how everything in his life had gone so quiet. But behind this routine was a story he never shared with anyone. 5 years ago, he had been deeply in love. Her name was Anna. They were inseparable back then, best friends, partners, dreamers. Daniel believed she was the woman he would spend his life with. But one day, without warning, she left. There had been no proper goodbye, no clear reason. Just silence. Daniel tried to call her, but her number changed. He even went to her old apartment, only to find it empty. For months, he lived in pain, confused and broken. Eventually, time dulled the wound, but it never truly healed. He still thought about her, especially late at night when the world was quiet. One sunny afternoon, Daniel decided to take a walk through the busy market streets of the city. Vendors shouted, children laughed, and music played from small shops. Life buzzed around him. He stopped to buy some fruit from a stall, and as he handed the coins to the seller, his eyes caught something in the crowd. His heart skipped a beat. There, only a few steps away, stood Anna. Daniel froze. The world around him seemed to blur, the voices of the crowd fading until there was only silence. She looked almost the same, yet different. Her hair was tied back, her clothes simple, but her presence hit him like a storm. For a moment, Daniel wondered if his mind was playing tricks on him. Maybe it was someone who only looked like her. But then she turned, and he saw her face clearly. It was Anna. She was real. After 5 long years, she was right in front of him. But that was not what shocked him the most. Beside her, holding her hand tightly, was a little boy. The child looked no older than 4. He had soft brown hair, a curious gaze, and a small smile as he pointed at something in a shop window. Daniel's chest tightened. The boy's face, it was like looking into a mirror of his own childhood. The same sharp nose, the same dimple when he smiled, even the same shade of eyes. Daniel's knees felt weak. The boy looked exactly like him. Daniel's mind spun. Could it be? No, it's impossible. But, what if it's true? He couldn't breathe. His eyes shifted between Anna and the boy again and again. A storm of emotions filled his chest, shock, confusion, anger, and something else he couldn't describe. Anna bent down to adjust the boy's jacket, smiling softly as she spoke to him. Her voice carried through the crowd, and it was like a dagger in Daniel's heart. Memories rushed back, her laughter, the way she once whispered his name, the dreams they had shared. He wanted to run to her, to demand answers, to shout and cry all at once. But his feet felt glued to the ground. What if he was wrong? What if the boy only looked like him by coincidence? What if he approached her, and she denied everything? And yet, deep inside, Daniel knew. He could feel it in his bones. The resemblance was too strong. That boy was not just any child. He was connected to him. Anna suddenly looked up, her eyes scanning the crowd. For a split second, her gaze met Daniel's. Her entire body stiffened. Her face lost all color, as if she had seen a ghost. Daniel's heart pounded. She grabbed the boy's hand tighter, almost protectively. For a moment, she looked like she might run. Daniel took a step forward, his throat dry, his mind screaming with questions. But before he could say anything, Anna turned her head quickly and began walking away, pulling the boy with her. Daniel's body reacted before his mind did. He rushed after them, weaving through the crowd. His heart raced faster than his legs. People bumped into him, stalls blocked his path, but he didn't stop. He called out, "Anna!" His voice cracked, but it was loud enough. Anna froze. Slowly, she turned her head. Their eyes locked again, and this time, Daniel saw it, the fear in her eyes, the guilt, and something else, a secret she had carried for years. The boy tugged on her hand. "Mom," he said innocently, "who is that man?" Anna swallowed hard. She looked at Daniel, then back at the boy. For a moment, she seemed trapped between 2 worlds, the past she had left behind and the present she was trying to protect. Her lips trembled as she whispered, almost too softly to hear, "Someone you were never supposed to meet." Daniel felt his heart stop. The market noise returned, louder than ever, but inside him, there was only silence. The boy was his. He knew it now. And Anna's reaction only confirmed what he feared, and hoped, at the same time. After 5 years of silence, fate had brought them face to face. But instead of answers, Daniel was left with 1,000 more questions. And he knew one thing for sure: his life would never be the same again. Daniel stood frozen in the busy market even after Anna disappeared into the crowd with the boy. His heart hammered against his chest, and his mind refused to calm down. The words she had whispered, "Someone you were never supposed to meet," kept echoing in his ears. He wanted to run after her, demand answers right there in the street, but his legs would not move. It felt as if the world had suddenly changed around him, and he was trapped between the past and the present. For years, Daniel had forced himself to forget Anna. He had locked the memories deep inside, believing it was the only way to survive. But now, those memories came flooding back, raw and painful. He remembered the night she left. It was raining heavily. They had argued, but nothing serious. He had gone to bed believing everything would be fine in the morning. But when he woke up, Anna was gone. Her clothes were missing, her phone disconnected, her apartment empty. He had searched for her everywhere, calling mutual friends, visiting places they used to go together, even contacting her relatives. But no one gave him a clear answer. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. For months, he had been broken. He lost weight, he lost focus, and he lost hope. He wanted to know why she had left, but the silence destroyed him more than any words could. Slowly, painfully, he built walls around his heart. And now, 5 years later, those walls were crumbling because of a little boy who looked exactly like him. Daniel walked slowly through the market, his thoughts spinning. If the boy really is mine, why didn't she tell me? Why did she keep him a secret? The idea that he might have a son filled him with both excitement and anger. Excitement, because a piece of him lived in that child. Anger, because he had missed everything: the first steps, the first words, the first smile. All those moments that should have been his were stolen away. That night, Daniel sat alone in his apartment, staring at an old photo of him and Anna. It had been taken at a park, years ago. She was laughing, her hand in his, her eyes full of love. Looking at it now made his chest ache. "Why, Anna," he whispered to the empty room. "Why didn't you trust me?" Sleep did not come easily. He tossed and turned, hearing the boy's innocent voice in his head. "Mom, who is that man?" The next morning, Daniel made a decision. He could not ignore this. He needed answers, even if they hurt. He had to know the truth. For the next few days, he tried to find Anna. He returned to the market, hoping to see her again. He asked shopkeepers if they knew a woman with a young boy. Some shrugged, some said they had seen her once or twice. It wasn't much, but it gave him hope. Every night, the same thought haunted him: if that boy is really mine, he deserves to know me. And I deserve to know him. But fear also whispered in his mind. What if she denies it? What if she tells me I'm wrong? What if the boy isn't mine at all? The uncertainty gnawed at his heart. Days turned into a week before Daniel finally saw them again. He was walking home from work when he noticed Anna and the boy coming out of a small school building. The boy was carrying a colorful bag, skipping happily beside her. Daniel's heart raced. He wanted to run across the street, but he stopped himself. Instead, he watched from a distance. The boy's laughter rang out, pure and innocent. Anna smiled at him, but her smile looked tired, almost sad. Daniel's chest tightened. She was the same Anna he had loved, yet she looked different, older, worn down, as if life had not been kind to her. When they reached the corner of the street, Daniel finally stepped forward. "Anna," he called softly. Anna froze. She turned slowly, her face pale. "Daniel," she whispered, almost breathless. The boy looked up curiously. "Mom, it's the man again." Anna squeezed his hand. "Go wait by the gate for a minute, okay?" she said gently. The boy nodded and walked a few steps away, humming to himself. Daniel stepped closer, his voice trembling with emotion. "Why, Anna? Why did you leave like that? And who is he? Is he mine?" Anna's eyes filled with tears. She shook her head quickly. "Not here. Please, Daniel. Not in front of him." Daniel clenched his fists. "I've been waiting 5 years for answers. Don't tell me to wait longer." Her voice cracked. "I promise, I'll tell you. Just not now. Please, trust me once." Daniel stared at her, torn between anger and longing. Her eyes begged for patience, but his heart screamed for the truth. Before he could reply, the boy ran back, holding Anna's hand. He looked at Daniel with wide, innocent eyes. "Mom," he said softly, "why does he look like me?" Anna's breath caught. She looked down at her son, then back at Daniel. Her silence said more than words ever could. Daniel's world tilted again. The question he feared, the question he longed for, was now right in front of him. And he knew, whether Anna wanted to admit it or not, the truth was already written on the boy's face. Daniel's heart beat wildly as he stood face to face with Anna. The boy's innocent question, "Why does he look like me?" still echoed in his ears. It was a question no one could ignore, not even Anna. Her silence was like a storm waiting to break. She avoided Daniel's eyes, holding the boy's hand tightly as if she feared losing him. Daniel swallowed hard. His voice shook, but his words came sharp and direct. "Anna, enough of hiding. I deserve to know. Tell me, who is he?" Anna's lips trembled. She opened her mouth but closed it again, as if the truth was too heavy to speak. The boy looked up at her curiously, sensing the tension but not understanding it. Daniel's chest tightened. Years of pain and longing spilled out. 5 years, Anna. 5 years I searched for you. I asked everyone, begged for answers. And now, suddenly, I see you, with a child who has my eyes, my face. Don't tell me this is a coincidence. I'm not blind. Anna's tears finally fell. She turned away, whispering so softly that Daniel almost didn't hear. I wanted to protect him. Protect him from what? Daniel demanded, stepping closer. From me. From his own father. The boy tilted his head. Mom, what's going on? His small voice was filled with confusion, and Anna quickly knelt to his level. Sweetheart, she said gently, brushing his hair back, why don't you go inside for a little while? Mommy needs to talk to an old friend. The boy hesitated, glancing at Daniel again. Then, with a slow nod, he walked toward the school gate where a guard stood watching. Anna waited until he was out of earshot before turning back to Daniel. Her face was pale, her eyes red from crying. Yes, Daniel, she said at last, her voice breaking. He's yours. Daniel froze. The words hit him harder than he had imagined. Part of him had known it all along, but hearing her admit it made his knees weak. He gripped the railing beside him, trying to steady himself. Mine. His voice cracked with both wonder and rage. I missed everything, Anna. His first word, his first step, his first birthday. Do you even know what you took from me? Anna sobbed, covering her face with her hands. I had no choice. Daniel's anger flared. No choice. Don't lie to me. You could have called, you could have written, anything. Instead, you disappeared like I never existed. Why? Tell me why. Her shoulders shook, but she forced herself to look at him. Because I was scared, Daniel. You don't know everything that happened. Daniel's voice softened slightly, though the pain in it was sharp. Then make me understand. Please. I've lived in darkness for too long. Anna took a deep breath, her eyes locked on his. The night I left. I wasn't running from you. I was running from something else. Someone else. You think I wanted to leave you? No. I was trying to protect the life growing inside me. Daniel blinked, stunned. Protect him, from who? But Anna shook her head quickly. Not here. I can't say it now. It's too dangerous. Dangerous? Daniel repeated, his voice filled with disbelief. You're telling me that for 5 years you kept my son a secret because of danger? Yes. Anna cried. I did what I thought was right. You think it was easy for me, raising him alone? Watching him grow, knowing he would one day ask about his father? Do you think I didn't cry every night? Daniel's rage began to fade, replaced by something heavier, sorrow. He could see the pain in her eyes, the exhaustion in her body. She hadn't had it easy either. But still, the wound was deep. You should have trusted me, he whispered. Whatever the danger was, we could have faced it together. Instead, you decided for both of us. And now, he doesn't even know who I am. Anna's lips trembled. You're right, she admitted. I made mistakes. But I only wanted him safe. Daniel's voice grew firm again. Then it's time for the truth. He deserves to know who his father is. He deserves more than secrets and fear. Anna wiped her tears, shaking her head. Not yet. Please, Daniel. If you tell him now, it will only confuse him. Let me prepare him first. But Daniel's patience was gone. His voice rose, desperate. "He's my son, Anna. I won't stay in the shadows anymore. You can't keep him from me." The boy, hearing Daniel's raised voice, came running back from the gate. "Mom, are you okay?" he asked, clinging to her arm. Anna forced a smile through her tears. "I'm fine, sweetheart." She looked at Daniel, her face full of unspoken fear. "Please, not now. For his sake." Daniel looked at the boy, the same eyes, the same smile. His heart ached. He wanted to scoop him up, hug him, tell him the truth right there. But the uncertainty in Anna's eyes held him back. Still, one thing was clear, the secret was out. The boy was his. And Daniel knew he would not stop until he uncovered the full truth of why Anna had run, and what she was so afraid of. Daniel could not sleep that night. He kept replaying the moment Anna admitted the boy was his. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the child's face, the same smile he used to see in the mirror as a boy, the same eyes staring back at him. But behind that joy was a storm. Anna's words haunted him. "I was running from someone else. It was dangerous." Dangerous? Who? Why? The next day, Daniel waited near the school again. He didn't want to scare the boy, but he needed to talk to Anna alone. Hours passed before he finally saw her walking out, holding her son's hand. He stepped forward. "Anna," he called. She froze. The boy looked up at her. "Mom, it's the man again." Anna forced a smile. "Sweetheart, why don't you go play with your friends for a while? I'll come get you soon." The boy nodded and ran off to the playground. Only then did Anna turn to face Daniel. Her eyes were tired, but there was something else in them too, fear. Daniel wasted no time. "Enough of hiding, Anna. Last time you said it wasn't safe." "Safe from who? What are you so afraid of?" Anna looked around nervously, as if someone might be listening. Her voice was low when she spoke. "Do you remember Mark?" Daniel frowned. The name hit a chord. Mark was an old business associate of his, a man who always seemed charming on the outside but ruthless underneath. Years ago, Daniel had trusted him with an investment, but the deal had gone sour. Daniel cut ties, but Mark never forgave him. "What does Mark have to do with you leaving?" Daniel asked, confusion in his voice. Anna's hands shook slightly as she spoke. "After I found out I was pregnant, I tried to tell you. But before I could, Mark came to me. He said he knew everything. He said if I stayed with you, he would ruin your life. He threatened you, and me." Daniel's blood ran cold. Threatened? With what? "With lies, with power, with everything he had," Anna said, her voice cracking. "Mark had connections, Daniel. Dangerous ones. He told me that if I didn't disappear, he would make sure you lost everything, and that the baby would never be safe." Daniel's fists clenched. His jaw tightened. Rage burned inside him. "And you believed him? You let him win? Anna, you should have come to me. I would have protected you both." Tears filled Anna's eyes. "I wanted to. But every time I thought about it, I saw his face. He was serious, Daniel. He wasn't bluffing. I couldn't take the risk. I had to choose between staying with you and risking our child's life, or leaving so he would grow up safe." Daniel's heart cracked. He wanted to scream, to deny it, to tell her she had been wrong. But deep inside, he knew Mark was capable of exactly what she described. He had seen that coldness before. Still, the pain of losing 5 years could not be ignored. "Do you have any idea what you did to me?" Daniel's voice trembled. "I spent nights searching for you. I thought you hated me. I thought I wasn't enough. All this time, it wasn't me you were running from, it was him." Anna lowered her head. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I'm so sorry. Every day I wondered if I made the right choice. But when I looked at our son, alive and safe, I told myself it was worth it." Daniel's anger softened, but sorrow remained heavy in his chest. He looked at the playground where the boy laughed, chasing a ball. His son. His flesh and blood. "He deserves the truth," Daniel whispered. Anna's eyes widened. "No. Not yet. If Mark finds out you're in his life now, he might come back. He might try again." Daniel's eyes burned with determination. "Then let him come. I'm not the same man I was 5 years ago. I won't let anyone keep me away from my son. Not Mark. Not anyone." Anna shook her head. "You don't understand, Daniel. Mark doesn't fight fair. He doesn't just use money or power. He uses fear. He knows things, secrets that can destroy people. Daniel stepped closer, his voice steady. Then it's time we stop letting fear control us. Here's my son too, Anna. I missed his first words, his first steps, his first laugh. I won't miss another moment. Do you hear me? I won't. Anna's tears fell silently. She wanted to argue, to push him away again, but the fire in his eyes stopped her. For the first time, she realized he wasn't just the man she had left behind. He was stronger now, harder, unwilling to bend. Promise me, Anna whispered, her voice trembling. Promise me you won't do anything reckless. Promise me you won't let him get hurt. Daniel reached out, gently touching her hand. I promise. But I also promise this, I will be in his life. Nothing will stop me again. At that moment, the boy ran up to them, holding a toy car in his small hands. Mom, look. My friend gave me this, he said, his smile bright and full of joy. Daniel looked down at him, and something inside him shifted. The walls of anger and pain crumbled. All he saw was his son, a boy who deserved love, not secrets. But as Daniel met Anna's eyes, he knew the fight was far from over. Mark was still out there, and sooner or later, the past would come knocking. The days after Anna's confession were a storm inside Daniel's heart. For the first time in years, he felt alive, because he knew the boy was his. But the joy was chained to fear, for Anna's words about Mark haunted him. Daniel wanted to believe that the danger was gone, that 5 years was enough time for old threats to fade. But deep down, he knew men like Mark never truly disappeared. One evening, Daniel was walking home after leaving the schoolyard where he had secretly watched his son play soccer. The boy's laughter echoed in his ears, warming his heart. But as he reached the corner of his street, something made him stop. A black car was parked across from his building. Its windows were dark, its engine running quietly. At first, Daniel thought it was just another stranger, but then he felt it, the same uneasiness he had felt years ago around Mark. His chest tightened. Could it be him? The car pulled away slowly, disappearing into the night. Daniel stood frozen, watching it go. That night, Daniel's phone rang. He didn't recognize the number, but when he answered, his blood turned cold. Still chasing ghosts, Daniel. The voice was smooth, mocking, and terrifyingly familiar. Daniel's grip tightened on the phone. Mark. A chuckle came from the other end. 5 years, and you still sound the same. I wondered how long it would take before you came sniffing around again. I see you found Anna, and the boy. Daniel's heart pounded. Stay away from them. Or what? Mark asked, his tone calm but sharp as a knife. You think you can stop me now? Don't be foolish. You couldn't stop me back then. You won't now. Rage surged in Daniel's veins. If you come near them, I swear. Careful, Mark interrupted. Don't make promises you can't keep. I know more about you than you think. And I know everything about him. The line went dead before Daniel could reply. Daniel stood in silence, the phone trembling in his hand. His worst fear was true. Mark knew about the boy. The next morning, Daniel found Anna waiting for him outside the cafe near her apartment. Her face was pale, her eyes filled with dread. He called me last night, she whispered before Daniel could speak. Mark. Daniel nodded grimly. He called me too. Anna's hand shook. He said he knows where our son goes to school. Daniel, I can't let him hurt him. Daniel's jaw tightened. He won't. I won't let him. But Anna's fear only deepened. You don't understand. Mark doesn't make empty threats. He always finds a way. Daniel leaned forward, his voice firm. Then we face him. Together. Anna's eyes widened. No. You don't know what you're saying. If you fight him, you'll lose everything. Daniel's eyes burned with determination. I've already lost 5 years of my son's life. I won't lose more. That night, Daniel couldn't stay still. He walked the streets near Anna's home, his senses alert. Every shadow felt dangerous, every sound too sharp. At one point, he thought he saw a man watching from across the street. But when he moved closer, the figure slipped away into the darkness. The tension grew unbearable. Finally, near midnight, his phone buzzed again. A text this time. From an unknown number. Meet me tomorrow. Alone. Or everyone finds out. Daniel's blood ran cold. He knew who it was. Mark. The next day, Daniel met Mark at an abandoned warehouse near the edge of the city. The place smelled of rust and oil, the silence heavy. Mark stepped out of the shadows, dressed in an expensive suit, his smirk the same as always. "Well, well," Mark said smoothly. "The man who thought he could outrun me. You haven't changed much, Daniel. Still naive." Daniel's fists clenched. "Leave Anna and the boy out of this." Mark's smile widened. "The boy? Yes, he looks just like you. A shame, really. Growing up without a father figure, until now." Daniel stepped forward, his voice sharp. "If you touch him—" Mark raised a hand, cutting him off. "Relax. I haven't touched him. Yet. But you know me, Daniel. I don't play fair. I don't need to touch him to ruin him." A whisper here, a lie there, a few strings pulled, and his world collapses before it even begins. Daniel's chest heaved with fury. "What do you want?" Mark's eyes glinted. "Simple. Stay away. Leave Anna. Leave the boy. If you don't, I'll make sure their lives are destroyed. Not with violence. With power. The kind of power you can't fight." Daniel's heart pounded. Every instinct screamed at him to attack, to silence Mark once and for all. But he knew that would only make things worse. Mark was dangerous not because of fists, but because of influence. Still, Daniel's voice was steady when he answered. "You can threaten me all you want. But I will never walk away from my son again." Mark's smirk faded, replaced by coldness. "Then prepare yourself, Daniel. Because this game has just begun." With that, Mark turned and walked into the shadows, leaving Daniel alone in the silence of the warehouse. Daniel stood there, his heart pounding, his mind racing. The danger was real, closer than ever. But one thing was certain, he would fight, no matter the cost. Because now, it wasn't just about him and Anna. It was about his son. Daniel walked out of the warehouse with his fists clenched so tightly that his nails dug into his palms. Mark's threats echoed in his head. "Leave Anna. Leave the boy. Or their lives will be destroyed." The cool night air hit his face, but it did nothing to calm the fire inside him. He had lived in silence for 5 years, broken by loss. Now, finally, he had found Anna and his son. He would not lose them again. Not to fear. Not to Mark. But how could he fight someone with power, money, and connections that reached into every shadow? Daniel knew one thing: if he fought Mark head-on with anger, he would lose. He had to be smarter. The next day, Daniel went to Anna's apartment. She opened the door with worry written all over her face. "What happened?" she asked quickly. "You saw him, didn't you?" Daniel nodded. "Yes. He hasn't changed, Anna. He's worse. He threatened me, threatened our son." Anna covered her mouth, her eyes wide with fear. I told you he wouldn't stop." Daniel stepped closer, his voice steady. "Listen to me. We have 2 choices. We can keep running, living in fear forever. Or we can stand and fight." Anna shook her head immediately. "Fight him. Daniel, you don't know what he's capable of. If you push him, he'll destroy us." Daniel's eyes softened, but his voice stayed firm. "He already destroyed us once, Anna. He took 5 years from me. He took a father from our son. I won't let him take more. This time, we fight smart." Anna stared at him, torn between fear and hope. "Do you trust me?" Daniel asked quietly. Tears filled her eyes. She hesitated, then whispered, "Yes. I always did." Over the next few days, Daniel began digging into Mark's world. He spoke to old contacts, read financial records, followed rumors. Piece by piece, a pattern emerged. Mark's power wasn't as clean as it looked: shady deals, false companies, money moving where it shouldn't. Daniel realized something important: Mark thrived on secrets. But secrets could be exposed. At the same time, Daniel grew closer to his son. Every afternoon, he waited outside the school, watching the boy run into Anna's arms. Sometimes the boy would glance at Daniel with curiosity, as if sensing a bond he didn't fully understand. One evening, as the boy showed Daniel his drawing of a superhero dad, Daniel's heart nearly broke. He knew then, he had to win this fight. Not for himself, not even for Anna, but for the little boy who deserved a father unafraid to stand beside him. The storm came sooner than expected. Mark called again. His voice was colder this time. "You've been busy, Daniel. Asking questions. That's dangerous." Daniel didn't flinch. "So is threatening children. I won't back down." Mark chuckled darkly. "You think you've found something on me? Even if you did, no one would believe you. My world is bigger than yours. My shadow is longer." Daniel's reply was calm but sharp. "Maybe. But shadows vanish when light is strong enough. And I'm done living in yours." Mark's voice turned hard. "This is your final warning. Leave. Or you'll regret it." The call ended. Daniel knew what he had to do. The next morning, he met Anna near the park. She looked anxious, holding their son's hand. "Daniel," she whispered, "what are you planning?" Daniel looked at her, then at the boy. "I'm planning to end this. Once and for all." He pulled out a folder from his bag, papers, records, documents he had gathered. Mark built his empire on lies. If these reach the right people, he's finished. But it won't be easy. He'll fight back. That's why I need you to trust me, and be ready for whatever comes. Anna's hand shook as she touched the folder. This could ruin him. Daniel nodded. "And free us." The boy looked up innocently. "Mom, what's happening?" Anna knelt, hugging him tightly. "Nothing you need to worry about, sweetheart. Mommy and," she hesitated, then smiled through her tears, "and Daddy are just fixing things." The boy's eyes lit up. "Daddy!" He looked at Daniel with wide, hopeful eyes. Daniel's throat tightened. For the first time, he smiled back. "Yes, son. Daddy." The days that followed were tense. Daniel passed the information to people he trusted, journalists, investigators, men who had once feared Mark but now wanted revenge. It took time, but slowly, the cracks began to show. News outlets started whispering about Mark's deals. Investors pulled away. The image of power he had built for years began to crumble. Mark tried to fight back, but the walls closed in. His calls to Daniel grew angrier, more desperate, until finally, there was silence. And then, he was gone. Some said he fled the country. Others said he was hiding, waiting for the storm to pass. But to Daniel and Anna, it didn't matter. For the first time in years, they were free. One quiet evening, Daniel sat on a bench in the park. Anna was beside him, their son playing nearby. The boy ran to them, holding 2 flowers. "One for Mom," he said, handing her a flower. Then he turned to Daniel. "And one for Dad." Daniel's chest swelled with emotion. He took the flower gently, his eyes misty. In that moment, he knew the battle was worth it. The years of pain, the fear, the fight, it had all led to this, a family, whole again. Anna leaned against him, whispering, "We're finally safe." Daniel nodded, watching their son laugh in the golden light of sunset. Safe. Free. Together. For the first time in a long time, Daniel believed it.